I'm blurry. How are you, Elise Marie? All right. Let me see if this works. 1 second. Better? Hello, everyone. How are you? Joanna Marie is here. How is everyone? All right, guys. Good morning, Jasmine. Did you guys all also receive the compare and contrast rubric attached to the email with your link? I'm not sure why it shows up blurry for you, Elise Marie. I look kind of clear on my screen. Does anybody else have that issue? All right. Awesome. If you guys could please open up that rubric that I just sent you guys. Please open your Great Gatsby rubric. Board looks blurry. All right, Elise Marie, I'm going to try to hook you up as best as possible. I think that's the best I can do because it's at the edge of the table now. Is that better? All right, guys. If you look at your rubric, you're going to see purpose and supporting details, organization and structure, transitions is going to be one, and then grammar and spelling. What's up, Nate? How are you? The reason why I wrote these individual spots down is because I'm going to go over my expectations with you. And then I'm also going to then have you compare my expectations to your rubric. So please have that up. So purpose and supporting details, right? It's on a 4-point scale. Okay. To receive a 4, to receive a 4 under purpose and supporting details. 1, you would need to clearly compare and contrast J. Gatsby to F. Scott Fitzgerald. All right, that's number 1. What do I mean by clearly compare and contrast the two subjects? Okay, clearly compare and contrast J. Gatsby and F. Scott Fitzgerald. To do that, I want you guys to also have all right. So under purpose and supporting details, I want you guys to cite your sources. Even though this is a compare and contrast paper, okay, even though I know it's coming from the Great Gatsby book and maybe that documentary that I showed you or the PowerPoint, wherever you get your supporting details, make sure you cite correctly. Your copy of the Great Gatsby, okay? Your copy of the Great Gatsby is going to have all the information necessary to properly cite the book. Okay, we have the title, we have the author on the first page and the cover, but then all the publishing information is going to be right here. Okay, all your publishing information that you need is going to be right after the Great Gatsby title page. Okay, after you look in here, you are going to look for all of the appropriate information that we have learned is needed to cite. Okay? That's the main page to cite your sources from the book. Okay? Whatever website you use to pull up F. Scott Fitzgerald's biography or just information on him, if it's not a full biography and you just use that website, make sure you cite that website. You get whoever the publisher and author were of this article or scholarly journal. Okay? Purpose and supporting details. You're going to clearly compare and contrast J. Gatsby to F. Scott Fitzgerald. You're going to cite your sources. And lastly, paper to be 3 full pages. It's a 3-page paper, guys. All right. I understand, Joanna Marie. If your computer keeps freezing, just try to do as best as you can. I'm trying to move slow enough to make sure that it covers for anything like that. Okay. So, clearly compare and contrast, cite, and your paper needs to be 3 pages. Organization and structure. When you look at that section in the book, okay? Organization and structure, that simply means did you put it in proper MLA format? Proper citation? And then lastly, the big one. Sorry, guys, I need some water. So, proper MLA format, proper citation and structure, and then also shoot. All right. Sorry, guys, I was running out of space. Okay. Organization and structure. You have the proper MLA format. You have your proper citations, and your formatting and writing is clear and understandable to read. Okay. While I'm reading your essay, I want to make sure you're going from point A to point B to point C in smooth transitions with appropriate sentences that start your paragraph as well as exit your paragraph and lead you to the next main point that you were going to be using. Okay, so it's a 3-page paper with citations. It needs to still be an MLA format, and I just need you to try to write as clearly and concisely as possible. Transitions and grammar I combined because if you have these two sections, your transitions should at least be done pretty well, because that is a huge part of your organization and structure, and those transitions are going to be very dependent on your supporting details. Okay, so focus on those two sections and then your grammar. Okay. All right. And lastly, check for spelling, tense, and grammar. Okay. For many of you, I'll let you know if something needs to be put in the past tense, or if you are using colloquialisms like you're writing in slang. Check to make sure you're not doing that in your paper. Okay. I want you to get very comfortable and familiar with writing on a structured, educated 11th, about to be 12th grade level. Senior year is a couple weeks away, and college is immediately after that, or you're transitioning to the real world work. Okay, so try to get this grammar as polished as possible in this paper. I would like to see you try your best. All right, each section is written on a 4-point scale. To get all 4 points on purpose and supporting details, your paper needs to clearly, definitively compare and contrast J. Gatsby to F. Scott Fitzgerald. That way we can clearly see how F. Scott Fitzgerald and J. Gatsby inspired each other, and also how he created these differences so that you would know this is Jay Gatsby and this is not F. Scott Fitzgerald while you're reading. Okay? To get a 4, you're going to have all of that information. To receive a 3, maybe you have a lot of information, but maybe you didn't cite correctly. Or maybe you're at 2.5 pages or just barely on the third page. Okay? So that'll get you a 3. A 2 will be if you literally gave me half of what I asked for. So maybe you gave me only 2 pages, right? Maybe you tried to cite, but you just didn't do it well. Or maybe you did the full 3 pages, but you did no citations. Okay? These are things that are going to affect your grade. Okay? To get a 1, you literally would have to give me the worst paper ever. I don't think any of you will receive a 1. You guys have done pretty well at not only writing your papers, but asking questions to make sure you are on the right path. For organization and structure, I want to see, again, 4 out of 4 is going to be the information is broken up whole to whole. So we can go from point A to point B clearly and understandably. We know what we are trying to give to our reader. Okay. I want to make sure it's in proper MLA format. You guys should know this by now. We've gone over it at least twice this year. Okay. You should have that. So for a 4, I want to see all 3 of these things done extremely well. Okay. If I can't understand the points to your paragraph from your intro sentence and throughout, and then also with your end sentence on your paragraph, if I can't tell what you're going to be talking about next, that shows there's some confusion. Maybe there's a disconnect. So try to do as best as you can to organize that paper in a way that your reader will be able to follow along with you on your writing journey the whole time. Hi, Tanisha. How are you? Transitions. Okay. Your transitions are going to be the strength of these sentences. How well did you write these transition sentences? Do I know what you're going to be speaking of? If you ace this on each transition of your paragraphs, your thesis statement is clear and concise, I'm going to give you a 4. Okay. If you do really well and maybe there's 1 or 2 spots where it gets a little confusing, but I understand where you're going with it, I'll give you that 3 because I was able to understand what you meant, but maybe you just need a little bit more support or better language to express your thought. I will give you a 3 because the effort is there and you did put the information in. You just needed that little bit of extra support. A 2 is going to be just a paper that has some of these things, and let's say for like formatting and transitions, under transitions, let's say you have a really good thesis statement, but your transition sentences aren't that great. If you have a clear and concise thesis statement, I'm going to give you a minimum of a 2. Okay? A minimum of a 2 if you gave me a clear and concise thesis statement. Okay? A 1 will be if you have none of those things and just started writing. Okay? Grammar is going to contain your punctuation, your spelling, and the appropriate use of words. Okay? If you want to tackle this the best way possible, I highly recommend using a resource that I recommended using in school, Grammarly. If you copy and paste your paper onto grammarly.com before you send it to me, if you are someone who finds it pretty difficult to identify your errors in your writing, Grammarly will help you on your path to not only navigate and find which words you spelled wrong or which words maybe you have tense issues with. Maybe this should be in the present tense, not the past tense, or vice versa. That's going to help you a lot. If you guys decide to pay for the service, it does a lot more, but that is unnecessary if you have the skills yourself. Okay, so this is the breakdown for your compare and contrast assignment. Your rough draft will be due on May 13th. May 13th is a Wednesday. That gives you almost 2 weeks to get me your rough draft, okay? Ideally, if you can get it to me by Sunday the 10th, that'll give me the opportunity to look at them and get them back to you by that weekend or the 13th, depending on how early on you submit it. But the 13th also gives you enough time with all of your other classes to write this out and do your research in a timely fashion, okay? So May 13th. Do May 13th, okay? Does anybody have any questions on the paper before I move forward to the next portion? Tamaya, be more confident. You got this, girl. Just focus. If you know that's something you need to look for, focus on that a little bit heavier. You can do it, okay? That attention to detail is something that's going to take you further. I know you can do this, Tamaya. Do not discredit yourself in that way. You can definitely do better than that, too. I believe in you. Okay. Since there seems to be no questions about the paper, I'm going to leave this up for 1 minute, just in case someone was writing anything down, and then I'm going to move on. After maybe about like 5-6 minutes, you'll be able to head out. Elise Marie, this stuff on the board, you don't need necessarily a picture of because you have the rubric, or do you want this as well so you know specifically what to look for to ace that rubric? Is that why you need the picture? Okay. I'll send you this after class. Actually, I'll take the picture now too. One second. All right. Got that photo for you. No problem. All right, guys. So, I'm going to erase this. And lastly, I hope you guys did the reading for chapter 9. I know I said I would get you the chapter guide last week, but I was still getting my chapter 8s up until about like a day or two ago. Chapter 9 is available right now on Alma, okay? You can start working on that right away. There is no reason why you guys should not be able to have that done by next week, all right? You should be done The Great Gatsby as soon as possible. Hopefully by the end of the weekend, ideally, but definitely before we have class next. I want that book completed, okay? Once you complete your chapter 9 packet and submit that to me via email, I will have those grades and we will be done with the reading portion and the comprehension portion of The Great Gatsby. From here on, we will be transitioning to writing this paper and then just some supporting information around that. Are there any questions? All right, if there's no questions and you guys are comfortable in what you need to do and the expectations, I'm going to allow you guys to wrap up right now. Okay. You already have been introduced to the information on this paper this last month, right? We've been talking about the Great Gatsby for at least a month. The F. Scott Fitzgerald documentary, that was last week, but we also had some information when we started the book. So you have a little bit of that refresher. When are you starting the paper? You guys can start the paper as soon as today. When are you going to start your research? Whenever you start your research, that is when you start it. Your paper is due May 13th. So that literally gives you 2 full weeks to get it done. Okay? May 13th. May 13th. Okay? May 13th is the due date for your rough draft of this paper. It's 3 pages. Three-page. Three-page rough draft. Okay? Chapter 9. Chapter 9 is due by next Wednesday. Yeah, 3 pages is still an essay. 3 pages is still an essay. All right? I know you guys have other lengthy assignments for your other classes, and you don't necessarily have all the support in regards to me being able to stand right there at a moment's notice and help you out. So I don't want you guys to get too involved in a paper that I can't help guide you on as you write. So 3 pages, I think, is adequate to get the message and the information across. All right. Is there any questions about either the assignments or about any of the expectations on due dates or where we're going from here? No questions? All right. All of you, if you need any help or support, what do you mean, Chapter 9? Chapter 9 is the last chapter in The Great Gatsby. It's really short. Your chapter guide for this final chapter of the book, very small. All right. But it's just assignment to wrap up the book. It is available on Alma. So if you look on Alma, you'll be able to download that assignment in PDF form right from there. Awesome. All right, guys. Are there any further questions? No? All right. I wish you guys the best. If you come across any speed bumps or anything that you need answered on your way through your process, feel free to email me or text me as always. I'm definitely here to help you succeed as best as possible with your writing. All right? Love you guys. Be safe and have a great rest of your day and a great weekend.